So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I gotta talk about the thousands of dollars I've spent on my black tank trying to fix it and trying to keep it clean. So this is gonna be a very important video for anyone who either lives in their RV full time or just use their RV for their weekend warrior trips. But nevertheless, this video is going to be helpful for anyone who wants to clean this tank correctly and at the same time prevent any type of catastrophic issues. Stay tuned. So 2021 marks 3 years of us having our fifth well, and 2022 of August will be 4 years. We've had quite a few problems with our RV, but that's pretty much to be expected with any RV brand, no matter what anyone tells you. There are some brands that do have a little bit higher workmanship, but you're going to have issues here and there because a lot of the components that they use inside these RVs are the same. Now, the black tank is very crucial to your RV, and here's why. Number one, it's where you go to the bathroom, and number two, it's where you go number two. One thing I've learned from having our RV is you don't want to put anything down that tank. And yeah, you don't want to put just anything down that tank. So what I normally do on breakdown day when we're camping, the last day, I like to get in there and flush that tank as good as possible. So as you know, most RVs come with a black tank flush. The black tank flush on the RVs are okay. They don't do that much cleaning. Now, however, you should buy what's called a swivel black tank wand. That thing does some cleaning. So for the most part, when you're buying an RV, you want to make sure you keep that tank clean because you have some sensors inside there that let you know how full or empty the tank is. And that's very crucial because if you don't know how full it is, well, it could overflow into your RV. And here's the mistake I made at first with my RV. I used to put bleach down there. I would put anything I could think of that would clean poop and pee out of a tank. Anything. So I put bleach down there. I put very corrosive stuff down there. I don't even want to tell you some of the stuff I put down there. I put a lot of crazy stuff down there. And our tank has never shown any signs of like missed readings for like how full or empty it is. It's always shown empty. So right now I just got done dumping. As you can see the holes in the floor. And you see that? That is clearly showing empty. So that is why I'm making this video. So when you're going to clean your tank, you don't need a lot of stuff to clean the tank out. And here's why. As long as you're flushing this tank with the black tank flush that comes on the RV, or if you decide you want to upgrade to something a little bit more aggressive, you don't have to put a lot of stuff down into this tank to clean it. Now, the only exception to the rule, I do use Dawn soap. That's the only thing that I put down that tank. And while we're using the tank, while we're camping, we use this porta packs. That's the only things I recommend. This is through Wallex. I get the big bag because you can never have too much of this stuff. I put 2 packs down. I put one down after we break down and put it in for storage. And then when we go camping again, I put a second one down for the first day we're back in camping. That way it just keeps the smells and stuff down to a minimum. In the summertime, you may have some smelling problems depending on how high you let this get. So I would strongly recommend 100% don't put too much stuff down this tank to clean it, because you don't have to, because if you're flushing it every time you're using it, you don't have to put a bunch of stuff down to clean it, because as you see, I have a brand new tank. We've already used it 3 times and I've just flushed it 3 or 4 times and it's completely empty. And number 2, just stick to using stuff like this. Some people have mentioned that you can use dishwasher detergent. That might be something you can use, and it's also a good idea to stay to one brand for this too, as some people have mentioned. So the damage I made on my RV the first time was my valve got stuck. So every time I went to go pull it, it wouldn't come out. It would literally like be stuck. So I had to use both hands and my feet on the side of my RV to pull it out for it to just release all the stuff inside the tank. I had to get that fixed. That cost a whopping $673, I believe. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. Almost $700 to fix that valve because it was sticking because of all the stuff I was putting down the tank. And some of my viewers on another video told me it breaks down some of the seals inside of there, and it could also affect the metals in there, maybe to start to corrode, to make it harder to open that valve. So number one, do not put crazy cleaning detergents down that tank to clean it. You don't need to do that. Just take your time. Every time you use it, be sure to black tank flush it 100% of the time. So we just talked about cleaning your tank, black tank flushing it. And the second point I'm going to make to you is don't black tank flush your tank too much. Now you just heard me say to black tank flush your tank all the time. Here's what I mean by that. So whenever we go camping, we were only using it for about 3 or 4 days on our camping trips. Now that we live full time in it, I try to go at least a week before I have to start dumping. So I will hold out till at least the last day, like I just did today. Actually, today's Saturday. I don't normally dump on Saturday mornings. I dump, and I like to just do it once a week. That way it saves us on the porta packs, all that stuff. But here's the problem. My tech told me it's not a good idea to let the tanks get more than 3/4 full. He really said half. He says once you get halfway, you want to go ahead and start dumping the tank down. He says because these tanks are not really built for a lot of weight, and he's right because they're made out of plastic. So the problem that I created was when I was black tank flushing these tanks, I would let them go all the way up, and then I would dump them down. And what happened was the pressure from that water coming up with the tank being closed, it actually damaged like the roof vent, like that piece was broken. So water was kind of coming out on the side, not a lot, but water was coming out on the side of the tank. And the other issue I created was the tank bulged. Literally, like it bulged and it broke apart on the side. So basically water was coming out of the sides of the tank. And even after I would dump, flush it, clean it, everything, it would still like have a smell. And I was like, why does it smell inside of our RV? Well, that's because that crease that was made because of all that weight of the water. It was the smell of the tank was coming inside the RV. It was horrible. That repair cost us, yeah, it was like $800 and some change. I spent $1,300 in total because I got the wheel bearings packed at the same time, and I got new tires mounted and balanced on the RV. So it was $1,300 in total, but I think that one repair was $800 and some dollars. So figure 800 plus 700 bucks. I paid $1,500 repairing my black tank, and it could have all been avoided had I just known up front not to overfill it to try to clean it. You don't need to do that. You just need to dump it at about half. Once it gets full, black tank flush it. You can still close the valve. They don't recommend you do that from the manufacturer, but you can still close it to really get the walls, the side walls, everything clean. But be careful on overfilling that tank, because I had to repair that black tank, and I think I showed a picture on my channel of them lifting the RV up. I'll show it here too. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So I learned something new that day, but it cost me $1,500 to learn something new. So let's do a quick overview. Number one, do not put just anything down that black tank. Number two, do not overfill the black tank if you are closing the valve to clean it. Number three, be very careful when using your black tank flush that's provided to you on your RV. And here's what I mean by that. In the wintertime, if you do plan on using your RV, or you live in it full time, if you plan on using that black tank flush that's provided to you on this RV, be sure to put some compressed air out in that valve so that all the water leaves it, or put some antifreeze through the line. Because my black tank flush on my RV actually started to leak on the tank because of the wintertime. They don't put a lot of insulation on the underbelly of these RVs, so it will freeze even though you have that enclosed underbelly with the heat going under there. We don't really use our furnace, so that furnace does force air down there. The problem is propane is really expensive, so you don't always use the furnace to put air down there. You're going to use like space heaters or your fireplace heater that comes with the RV. Therefore, that's going to freeze up. So make sure if you're using it in the wintertime, you always put antifreeze through that line, or you put compressed air through there to get any remaining water out of those lines. And on that note, I'm going to show you really quickly to end this video off the difference between a black tank flush that comes on your RV And I'm going to show you also the difference with the wand. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to show it to you on here. So they do show your tank, so watch this. I'm going to turn on, this is the black tank flush side that comes on the RV. Watch this. What normally happens is this will kind of light up a little bit to show that it's on. So I'm gonna let it run for about 15-20 seconds because the tank is completely empty. Like it's the valve's actually open. You can see the valve's open right there. See it to the left, right there. So you see how this hasn't like illuminated yet, right? All right, watch this. I'm gonna wait 15 seconds. I'm gonna let the water drip out. You can kind of see the water going through. I'm gonna wait 15 seconds. I'm gonna show you something else. Hold on 1 second. All right, so you guys can see it's pretty much down to like a trickle. Now check this out. When you have the black tank flush down the toilet, you hear that? And do you see that? See, a lot of people don't know this. The wand is in a better position than your black tank flush. They typically put the black tank flush at the front of the tank. The wand is pretty much on the top of the tank. So it's actually cleaning those filters. You see that? It went all the way to 3/4 full because the water is spraying on the sensors. So this is a better cleaning agent versus the one that comes on the RV. So watch what happens. See that? And you have a lot more water coming out too. You see that? You have way more water pressure, and on the black tank flush that comes in your RV, you have to use a water regulator or you will have leaks inside your RV. With this, you don't have to use a water regulator, so you have all the pressure hitting those sensors. See that? That's why I strongly recommend using this over the black tank, especially in the wintertime, so you don't have any issues with damaging your tank. One last thing. I don't know if you guys noticed when we were inside. You see how I have this basically open? Like this is open, right? Normally, I saw this with RV geeks. Normally when you turn this fan on, because this fan was on all day until just now, normally you would smell something coming out of this tank because of that fan. Or if you just have that one little crack, you'll smell stuff. We don't have any issues with smell because this black tank flush does a really good job of taking everything off the sidewalls, and it also cleans the tank, as you saw on the sides, really well. So that way you don't have a lot of stuff left over. So you dump maybe 3 times, you don't have to dump anymore for that because this wand does the trick. And it's really easy. All you gotta do is just put it on the toilet, and that's it. And that's what it looks like. So it's at the very top of the tank, so it's doing a better job at cleaning those sensors and cleaning the sidewalls extremely well. And what I do is I just drop it into the shower. Just keep some, bleach in here. I use a bleach spray just to clean the floor after we're done, so we don't get obviously this contaminants on our feet or on our bodies. But again, I hope this was helpful. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm sure you don't want to look at my toilet anymore, but you probably don't want to look at me either, but be sure to subscribe to the channel. I hope this was helpful, guys. And be careful, be safe, have fun when you're camping. And if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions down below that I may not have, discussed, be sure to put them in the comment section below. See you in the next video.